Let me ask you something, and please do answer me honestly. Why is information everywhere but peace very rare? Why are people educated, exposed, connected, yet feel confused, anxious, and unfulfilled? You watch videos, perhaps you read books, you follow mentors, you pray. Yet, when it is time to decide whether in a career, whether in a relationship, in a business, in your next move, you freeze, you rush, or you regret later. This generation is so blessed with information. We don't lack information. Anything you need, you just Google it, you just chat GPT it, and then you get the information. But this generation lacks wisdom. Hello everyone, my name is Ediya Francis Kwame and welcome to Ediya Pill. As we dive into the 7 holistic aspects of living, today, right, I want to show you why and how to start making decisions that leads you to fulfillment and a life of impact. So please, kindly stay tuned and undistracted. Before we dive deeper, right, please let's do this reality check. Today, right, you can Google everything. You can watch experts for free. You learn faster than any generation before us. Yet, students are more anxious about the future. Professionals feel stuck and empty. Entrepreneurs are busy but lost. Here is the uncomfortable truth that people normally don't know, right? Information increases options. Yes, that is very true. But wisdom clarifies direction, because without wisdom, information becomes noise, and noise destroys clarity. What is the core problem to this? You see, wisdom is rare because it demands responsibility, not just consumption. Information says, yes, I would have to know more. But wisdom asks, what will you do about what you know? Because most people consume without applying. Most people learn without obeying. Most people hear without adjusting. So they feel more informed, but they are unchanged within. And here is the danger, right? Information without wisdom makes you confident but misaligned. Many a times, I do wonder why smart people still make poor decisions. Let's talk real life, right? For students, perhaps you study courses you don't understand. You study for careers you don't want to endeavor or develop in. Most times because you are afraid of being behind of your peers, of your colleagues. For career or for professionals, you stay in jobs that drain you, not because it is the right job or the aligned or the purpose you are working on, but because it seems familiar. You are in your comfort zone, and at the end of the day, it's helping you pay your bills. Yes, I'm not telling you to go quit your job without a plan, without a saving, and without having a nest structure of what you want to do. For business-minded people, you chase trends, you start ideas, you copy strategies without clarity, without timing, without alignment. Why? Because most of the times, right, information tells you what is possible, but wisdom tells you what is permitted for you at a particular season. Not all time is applicable for wisdom, yes, and that is where most people fail. Let me simplify information and wisdom for you, right? Information answers, what can I do? What is working? What are others doing? Yes, you need information to find out what others are doing. But wisdom frequently asks, should I do this now? Is this aligned with my purpose or the reason for my existence? What will this cost me in the long term? That is wisdom, because information would excite you, but wisdom restrains you, and restraint is a form of maturity. Yes. Now, I want you to listen to this carefully, right? Because this is where transformation begins. The first step to practical decision making is to slow down before you decide. You see, desperation produces rash decisions, and rash decisions would always create regret. If you feel pressured, pause. Wisdom never shouts, it whispers. So ask yourself, why do I want to do this? What fear is driving this decision, and you act on it. The second step is to ask questions of alignment, right? You stop asking, will this make me successful or will people applaud me? And you start asking, does this align with who I am becoming? Will this strengthen or fragment my life? Can I sustain this without losing people? Because peace is a compass, right? You ignore it at your own risk, and never lose your peace for anything in this life, because it is not worth it. Yeah. The third step here is to count the cost honestly, because wisdom sees beyond excitement. So you have to ask yourself, what habits will this demand? What relationships will this strain? What will I have to stop to do what I am doing very well? If you are not willing to pay the cost, right, you are not ready for decisions. Have a main goal in your life that you are working towards, right? And you define the most important things in your life. The most important thing in your life is not what you are living for. These are the things you can die for. If at every point and moment in your life, whatever you are doing or you are surrendered around is important, then there is nothing important in your life. You need to define the most important things that you are working to achieve it. If you want to destroy the vision of an unfocused person, you don't take the vision away from them. No, you have to add more vision to their vision. Because they are unfocused, they will be working on each other and they will end up forgetting their main vision. So define the most important things in your life. The fourth step is to apply before you consume more, right? Here is the rule for this generation. If you haven't applied the last thing you learned, you don't need new information. You need to act on what you know to get the results. Knowledge alone is not equal to excellence. No, you have to act on what you know. Because wisdom grows through application, not just accumulating, always accumulating. No, you have to apply what you know to learn more and to gain wisdom. Let me give you some real world solutions for today, right? Because in a noisy world, you have to create spaces. You have to block time for deep reflection and planning, and you act on them. Personally, I make sure that I block at least 2 hours early morning for devotion, for self-study, for personal study. Because you see, self-improvement and self-development is a conscious and an intentional effort on your part, because we live in a world where noise is everywhere. We get distracted. Social media, messages, unwanted things keep on popping up on our phones, on our televisions, laptop, everywhere you go. So you have to be intentional to block time for yourself for personal development. The second is to limit how much advice you consume. Yes, no advice or knowledge is a waste, right? But you have to discern that you need this particular advice or knowledge per time or per season. You would also have to seek depth, not just volumes. No, you seek depth. You go deeper into what you really want, the most important things you've already defined. And now you have to choose alignment over speed. Do you know why? Yes, speed is important when you are aligned with a destination, because alignment produces supply without struggle. While struggle is often celebrated as a sign of effort, it is evidence of misalignment. Yes, in engineering, right, when a machine is not aligned, right, it would overheat, it would waste energy, it would end up losing its lifespan. But when it is aligned, it produces effortlessly. That is the same pattern for humans, right? Human lives follow this same pattern. When your priorities, when your habits, when your thinking and your actions are aligned with your principles and the principles of the kingdom, right, grace flows through you naturally, and provision becomes a result of positioning, not just pressure from outside. So here is the truth. Alignment does not remove work. No, it removes unnecessary warfare, because when you are speeding in the wrong direction, and you now have clarity on where you are going, you found out that you have wasted so many things. You now have to come back, reposition yourself, and this is what alignment removes, right? Fulfillment doesn't come from doing more things. No, it comes from doing the right things consistently per season. So this is the closing charge I want to leave for you, right? You don't need another video. You need to take a decision, because information will keep you busy, but wisdom will make you live fulfilled. And wisdom begins when you stop asking, what can I do? And you start asking, what must I do now? As usual, my name is Ediya Francis Kwame, and this is Ediya Pill, where we don't just grow, we transform and we live fulfilled. If this video was important, or if you found this video helpful, kindly hit on the subscribe button or the follow button. And remember, Ediya Pill, your dosage to holistic living. Thank you very much for watching, and then see you in our next subsequent videos. Bye for now.